4 beers. A SADC Solidarity Conference of the people of Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic was held on 26 March 2019 in Pretoria, South Africa. The conference was a watershed moment in asserting our resolve as a region that liberation, political freedom, and the right to self-determination are integral to who we are as a community. On behalf of SADC, allow me to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the people of the SADC region, through your excellencies, for their commitment to the legitimate struggle of our brothers and sisters in Western Sahara. May I also extend our deep gratitude to the government and people of the Republic of South Africa for hosting the conference, and all the countries and institutions for their invaluable contribution and participation. I believe that SADC, the African Union, and the United Nations will remain resolute in our joint efforts and will implement the conference's resolutions, which will lead to a positive, peaceful, and permanent solution in Western Sahara. In conclusion, I wish to acknowledge the great strides we have made as a region and the role played by the SADC Secretariat under the leadership of SADC Executive Secretary Dr. Serkomene Tax, who is from this country. In my country, I say Omake, you must Omake. Very tired. Their professionalism and commitment in ensuring that SADC continues to pursue its mandate is a pride of our region. I also wish to applaud the collaboration and support of our international cooperating partners who continue to make a significant contribution to a sustainable development in our region. I wish to thank Your Excellencies for the confidence you place in me and the people of Namibia during tenure as chairperson. Namibia is proud to have pulled its weight in our race towards economic prosperity and regional integration. It gives me great pleasure to pass the baton to the incoming chairperson, His Excellency and my dear brother, Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli. I believe that given his wisdom and dedication to the acceleration of development and welfare of the citizens of our region and continent, he will advance our regional integration agenda to a higher heights. And I also want to, from this platform now, as an outgoing chairperson, announce, so that he doesn't have trouble of announcing it, that Swahili is going to be now the official fourth language of SADC. It now gives me great pleasure, therefore, to officially hand over the chair of SADC to His Excellency Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, President of the Republic of Tanzania. I wish us all productive implementation of our programs and the SADC development and integration agenda during the coming year under his very qualified and very dynamic leadership. May Allah, may God bless you all, and thank you.
Ni Rais wa Namibia, mwenyekiti ambaye anaondoka katika SADC huyo, Dr. Gengo akimaliza hotuba yake, na sasa atakachokifanya ni kukabidhi kijiti cha mwenyekiti
handing over
kwa
of the
Rais Dr.
chairpersonship
John
from
Magufuli ambaye mara baada ya kupewa
Republic of
kijiti hicho
Namibia
rasmi sasa
to the United Republic of
atahutubia
Tanzania. As they exchange, shall we give another round of applause to
ni rasmi sasa, Rais Dr. John Magufuli ndiyo mwenyekiti wa SADC akichukua nafasi hiyo kutoka kwa Dr. Gengo ambaye yeye amehitimisha kibarua chake cha mwaka mmoja, na hata kwenye hotuba yake ameelezea yale mazuri yaliyofanyika na changamoto ambazo zimesalia, lakini pia amesema ana matumaini ya kwamba mwenyekiti mpya naye ataweza kusogeza pale ambako yeye ameacha. Lakini kabla ya kuondoka amesema ni rasmi sasa, Kiswahili kimetangazwa kwa lugha rasmi ya SADC. Sasa tunakuwa na lugha 4 rasmi, kwani awali walikuwa na lugha 3 pekee. Mambo yamebadilika na mambo yanakwenda kasi kweli kweli. Sasa ni wasa mzuri wa Tanzania kutumia fursa hiyo ya lugha ya Kiswahili kuhakikisha kwamba inafanikiwa vilivyo. Rais Dr. John Magufuli sasa anakwenda kuhutubia rasmi kwa mara ya kwanza akiwa kama mwenyekiti mpya kabisa wa SADC mara baada ya kupokea kutoka kwa rais wa Namibia Dr. Gengo. Vifijo na nderemo zinaendelea.
Thank you. Your Excellency Dr. Hage Geingob, President of the Republic of Namibia and outgoing chairperson of the SADC. Your Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu, President of the Republic of Zambia and outgoing chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation. Your Excellency Head of States and Government, Your Excellency First Ladies, Your Excellencies, former President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellencies, all national leaders of Tanzania here present, I would like to recognize former Prime Minister Mzee Marechera, Mzee Msuya, Mzee Pinda, and Mzee Joseph Sinde Warioba. They are all former prime ministers, and they happen to work with Nyerere in different capacities. I would also like to recognize Deputy Prime Minister from Namibia, to whom she worked here as a freedom fighter. And during that time, she was called Mama Namibia, Mama Swapo. And her name was Ndaitwa Natumbo Nandi. Excellencies, party leaders here present, Your Excellency, Chairman of the SADC Council of Ministers, honorable ministers here present, Your Excellency Dr. Stegumena Tax, Executive Secretary of SADC, Your Excellencies, Head of other regional and international organizations, Excellencies, Higher Commissioners and Ambassadors here present, distinguished delegates and other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel greatly honored and yet privileged to be given this rare opportunity to address this assembly for the second time this morning. Unlike the first time, this time around, I stand before Your Excellencies when you have given me a huge responsibility to chair this organization for the next 1 year. Allow me, therefore, on behalf of the government and people of the United Republic of Tanzania, as well as that of my own, to thank Your Excellencies, Head of States and the government of the SADC, for the trust you have bestowed on me. Indeed, being a chair of this body is a great honor, not only to me personally, but also to the government and the people of Tanzania. I thank you very much. I know this is not an easy job. It comes with the high expectation, but I humbly accept this responsibility. I'm confident that with Your Excellency's support and cooperation, I will be able to live to your expectation and to the expectations of the people of this sub-region. And to be honest, I have no reason not to believe that you will offer me all the needed support during my tenure. You have been doing so since my inaugurations as President of the United Republic of Tanzania in November 2015. In this connection, this being the first SADC summit to attend, I would like to take the advantage of this occasion to thank Your Excellencies, Head of States and the government of the SADC, for the support and the cooperation you have been extended to me since I took over the leadership of my dear country, Tanzania. I greatly appreciate your support and the cooperation, and it is my desire to strengthen further this cooperation and partnership for the benefit of our community and all our member states. Your Excellencies, may I also seize this opportunity to assure Your Excellencies, and wherever had any cause of doubt, that Tanzania is fully committed to SADC, its vision, goal, principles, and ideas. Indeed, we always consider SADC as an integral part of our future. This is why we have continued to be an active member of SADC and effectively participates in the implementation of its various initiatives and programs. In short, I wish to assure Your Excellencies that during my tenure as the President of this country, the Tanzania that you very well know will remain the same. I promise to follow the footsteps of all my predecessors, the late father of the nation, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, and their Excellencies Ali Hassan Mwinyi, Benjamin William Mkapa, and Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, to whom you see them here. I know it is not an easy task, but I will try to the best of my ability, and it's my hope God will help me. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed with my address, I would like to acknowledge the exemplary leadership of the community by the outgoing chair of SADC, His Excellency President Dr. Hage Geingob, during the past 1 year. Indeed, as his deputy, I must admit that I benefited from his huge experience, which I believe will help me for the new role I have just assumed. I particularly wish to commend the outgoing chair for his dedication and commitment on the issues of infrastructure, development, and youth empowerment, as well as for ensuring that SADC actively participated and played its role in the effort towards reducing the effect of Cyclone Idai and Kenneth that had affected some SADC member states. In these connections, allow me once again to extend my condolence and sympathy to all member states that were affected by these unfortunate and tragic events. I wish also to pay a glowing tribute to my brother, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu of Zambia, and the outgoing chairperson of the SADC organs of politics, defense, and security cooperation for his tireless effort to promote peace, stability, and democracy in our region. During his tenure, 6 member states held their elections peacefully: Comoro, DRC, Eswatini, Madagascar, Malawi, and South Africa. In this regard, I am sure you will all join me in congratulating their Excellencies Andre Rajoelina of the Republic of Madagascar, Azaria Saumar of the Union of Comoro, Cyril Ramaphosa of the Republic of South Africa, and Peter Mutharika of the Republic of Malawi for the victories in their respective countries. But in a very special way, I salute my dear brother, His Excellency Felix Tshisekedi, for emerging victorious in democratic elections, which enabled a peaceful transfer of power for the first time in DRC since its independence in 1960. This is indeed another testimony that democracy had continued to grow and take root in our sub-region. At this juncture, I cannot fail to express my appreciation to our Secretary under the able leadership of Madam Executive Secretary Dr. Stegumena Tax. During the preparations of this summit, I was able to experience the steering job this Secretariat has been doing to our region. But this is yet another clear testimony that when women are given the opportunity, they can perform a remarkable work. It is for this reason also, we in Tanzania decided in 2015 to elect a woman as our Vice President, Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan. And I'm glad that she has never failed us. Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, may you please rise up so that delegate can recognize her. You can see her. I am sure you can see her. Your Excellency, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an open secret that since its inception, SADC has recorded some important milestones. The elimination of colonialism and apartheid rule during the great test of war, but in addition, thanks to the effort undertaken by this organization, peace and security, which forms the cornerstone of our political and socio-economic development, laying in most parts of our region. Indeed, there is no more peaceful and stable regions on our continent than SADC region. I should also remind that since the launching of the SADC Free Trade Area in 2008, intra-regional trade within the SADC regions has been growing steadily from 16% of the region GDP to 22% in 2018. This is indeed a very significant achievement. It is pleasing also to note that a strong democratic culture is now entrenched in our region, and peaceful changes have become the norm. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, despite this achievement, our region is still confronted with a number of challenges. Yes, number of challenges. There are still many challenges facing our region. Due to the time constraints, I will only highlight 3 of them. Excellencies, shortly I have mentioned that the SADC region is a peaceful and more stable than any other part of this continent. This is not to say, however, that our region is free from conflict. In some of our countries, conflict situations still exist. In addition, there is other security threats, including international terrorism, organized crime, climate change, drought, flood, hunger, disease that continue to face our region. It is therefore imperative that we continue to work together to address these challenges. This is important because, as we all very well know, peace and security are the most critical precondition for the socio-economic development and transformation. Hence, our countries must continue to work hard to make sure that our region is free from conflict. In this regard, on this matter of peace and security in our region, I argue, Your Excellencies, to always be encouraged by the wise words of one of the greatest sons of this subcontinent, His Excellency Robert Mugabe, former President of Zimbabwe, whom once said, and I quote, "Never, never, never must we give up when it comes to the search for peace in any part of our region." End of quote. As the chair of SADC for the next 1 year, we pledge our commitment to work with all the member states in order to ensure that peace and security prevail in our region. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, putting peace and security issues aside, the biggest challenge that I see currently confronting our sub-region is that of economic emancipation. In my welcome remark, I mentioned that in transforming the SADC with the double C into SADC with the single C in 1992, the leader of this region had one key objective: to use the political achievements to advance socio-economic development and the transformations in our region. Needless to say, and I'm sure I will be speaking on behalf of many citizens in this region, that this objective has not been realized. And so, be honest, if there is no concerted effort, it will take ages for this objective to be realized. And I'm not saying this without evidence. Last year, 2018, for instance, we set a target of GDP growth of 7%, but it grew by only 3.1%. This was below the continent's average growth of 3.5%. The Eastern Africa region grew 5.7%. The Northern Africa region grew by 4.9%. And the 3.3% growth in the Western Africa region. Our intra-region and extra-regional trade performance is also not good. In 2017, the SADC regions with the 16 member states, population of 327 million people, a total area of 9,882,959 square kilometers, and which is blessed with the abundant natural resources, only exported goods worth $143 billion. On the other hand, Mexico and Vietnam, country with the area of 1,943,955 square kilometers and 331,210 square kilometers, and a population of 132.5 million people and 97.5 million people, each exported goods worth $403 billion and $214 billion respectively. This clearly shows that our economies are not performing well, and we are still very far from achieving our economic objective. I'm saying this very openly. There is no need to hide this. Excellencies, of course, there is many reasons why our economy are not performing as expected. One of them being lack of information on the opportunities available in our respective countries. In May this year, for instance, I had the opportunity to visit 4 Sadc countries. 3 of them, due to the drought and other natural disaster, were experiencing shortage of food. It surprised me to hear that those countries were planning to import foodstuff from outside Africa, while in Tanzania we were struggling to find a market for 2.5 million tons of food, which was a surplus. But that is just one example. Due to lack of information, our countries are also importing cars, sugar, and fuel very far away from our region, while some SADC member states, South Africa, Mauritius, and Angola, for instance, are producing the same respectively. Importation and importation costs also contribute to the poor economic performance of our region. Studies have shown that the cost relating to customs in our region are 3 times higher than in Asia and 5 times higher than in the OECD countries. This cost, compounded by transportation cost, make the situation even worse. I am reliably informed that it costs less overall to import animal feeds and refined sugar from South America to our countries than to import the same from within our region. Difference in trade and investment policies, laws, regulations, and standards has also its fair share in hindering businesses and economic cooperations between and among SADC member states, and thus affecting our economic performance. For example, it is possible today for a good that is produced and cleared in one member state to be denied to enter the market of another member state for not being able to meet the quality and the standards. Why can't we harmonize our policy, laws, regulations, and the standards, and therefore be able to increase the volume and the value of our intra and extra regional trade? Unless we do that, it will remain a daydream for our region to fully realize its economic objectives. Your Excellencies, at this juncture, allow me also to mention that apart from these 3 challenges that I have mentioned and highlighted, there is one more challenge that hinders our effort towards economic emancipation, which to me is the biggest of all. That challenge concerned the low level of industrialization in our region. Your Excellencies, history has taught us that no country or region in the world has ever developed without undergoing the process of industrialization. Today, all developed nations are the industrialized countries. Just to give you an idea of why the industrial sector is important, the World Trade Organization Statistics Review report of the year 2018 states that the value of the global trade in 2017 reached $23.01 trillion, of which $17.73 trillion were merchandise trade and the USA $5.28 trillion commercial services. Of course, importance to note, however, is that of the USA $17.73 trillion merchandise trade, 70%, almost USA $12.41 trillion, were manufactured goods. In that same year, Africa in total exported goods worth USA $417 billion. And as I mentioned earlier, Sadc exported goods worth USA $143 billion. More than 60% of the Africa's and the Sadc exports were raw materials, mainly agriculture products, mining, and fuel. That means that Africa, including Sadc, has not benefited much from that increase of global trade. This explains why Africa's share in the global trade is less than 3%. It also explains why the terms of trade are always in favor of other regions. For instance, in the year 2017, Africa exported goods worth USA $417 billion, but its importation was USA $534 billion. The reason is simple. We are selling goods of low value. It therefore requires us, for instance, to sell not less than 20 tons of cotton, coffee, or tea to buy just one tractor. And this also explains why our people continue to remain poor. Raw material in the world market are sold at a very low price. In addition, due to low level of industrialization in our region, the problem of unemployment is increasing. By exporting our raw material, it means we are also exporting jobs. Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is against this background that I would like to seize this opportunity to commend Sadc for adopting the industrialization strategy and the roadmap from 2015 to 2063. I also commend the decision that industrialization is a priority in each year's Sadc summit theme, and for introducing industrialization week prior to each ordinary summit. I am confident that this effort will go a long way in promoting industrialization in our respective countries and the region at large. In this respect, I wish to ensure this August body that issues pertaining to industrialization will be the top priority of our chairmanship. In this respect, I once again wish to applaud the effort undertaken by our outgoing chair, Namibia, in improving infrastructure in our region. It goes without saying that infrastructure is in addressing all impediments and bottlenecks, including transit delay, bureaucratic red tape, corruptions, and etc. This is why Tanzania has chosen a conducive business environment for inclusive and sustainable industrial development, increased intra-regional trade, and job creation to be the theme of the Sadc during her chairmanship. It is our sincere hope that the implementation of this theme will serve as a catalyst for sustainable industrial development, increased intra-regional trade, and job creation in our region. Your Excellencies, Head of States and Government, before I conclude my statement, allow me to say what I have always been telling my compatriots, and I'm sure you always do, that our country are not poor. Our country are not poor. They are very rich. We have all the resources to make us rich. Apart from large populations of 327 million people, SADC region is a home to the large number of wildlife and plant species that are of extremely important, not to mention livestock and marine ecosystems. The region has also widely diversity of ecozones, including grasslands, bushveld, corals, savanna, and riparian zones. In addition, our region is endowed with the hydrocarbons material, gramphite, ethans, and so on, and the minerals resources. Indeed, as a matter of fact, our region contributes to the world about 18% of cobalt, 21% of zinc, 26% of gold, 55% of diamond, 72% platinum groups of metals, and etc. So, we are not poor. These are indeed resources that one can hope to have in order to be rich. We must therefore work together to ensure that we exploit and utilize these resources for the benefits of our country and our people. This is important because it is only through cooperation that we will be able to utilize these resources effectively and achieve our objective. And this is what the founding fathers of this organization and our respective countries, including the late Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, Mzee Kennedy Kaunda, the late Samora Machel, the late Agustino Neto, the late Sese Kama, the late Nelson Mandela, Mzee Robert Mugabe, Mzee Samu Mjoma, just to mention a few, have taught us that the power of unity, when it is channeled with purpose to achieve an objective, can provide a remarkable result. It can even move a mountain. Indeed, it was because of unity our founding fathers, with the limited resources, were able to fight colonialism and emerged victorious. This is why I appeal to you, Your Excellencies, that let us work together to ensure the dream that our founding fathers had in establishing this organization is achieved, and our goal for socio-economic transformations and emancipations of our region is realized. Indeed, I personally believe that if we can work together, our economy will not grow by 3.1%. We shall be able to improve trade between us. Our industrial sector will grow. Our contribution to the global trade shall increase. Our people will no longer remain poor, and decent jobs will be available to our young people. In addition, I believe if we work together, peace and security will prevail in our region, and we shall also have a strong early warning mechanism and a system that will help us deal or reduce the impact of these natural disasters. Your Excellency, I have urged you to work together in order to achieve our objective. However, at this juncture, allow me also to challenge our Secretariat. I'm saying this because all the problems that I have highlighted, which are currently confronting our region, happen while we have our own institution, that is the Secretariat, which is supposed to help us member states overcome them. I personally believe that if our Secretariat would perform efficiently and effectively its function, it would have found the answers to the question why over the past 10 years our GDP growth has been decreasing, even by advice. The last time that our GDP grew by more than 5% was the year 2008, whereby it grew by 5.7%. Of course, in the year 2005, 2006, and 2007, our GDP grew by 6.6%, 7.3%, and 8.0% respectively. This is the GDP for SADC countries. However, since then, our economic growth has never grown by more than 5%. 2009, it grew by 0.6%. 2010, only 4%. 2011, 4%. 2012, 4.4%. 2013, 4.3%. 2014, 3.4%. 2015, 2.2%. 2016, 1.4%. 2017, 3%. And the last year, 2018, 3.1%. Had our Secretariat also lived up to its duty, our country would have known the reason why. After 2 consecutive years of positive trade balance, in 2010 and 2011, SADC regional external position deteriorated to a negative balance of $17 billion in 2015 and $9 billion in 2016, and improved a little bit in 2011 by $1 billion. These are some of the critical questions that our Secretariat must address and advise member states accordingly for a new direction. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would be remiss of me to end my speech without saying anything on Zimbabwe. As we are all aware, this brother and sister country has been on sanctions for a long time. These sanctions have not only affected the people of Zimbabwe and their government, but our entire region. It is like a human body. When you chop one of its parts, it affects the whole body. Therefore, I would like to seize this opportunity to argue the international community to lift up sanctions it imposed on Zimbabwe. This brother country, after all, has now opened a new chapter, and it is ready to engage with the rest of the world. It is therefore, I believe, in the interest of all parties concerned to see these sanctions be removed. In this respect, I wish also to urge all SADC member states to continue to speak with one voice on the issue of Zimbabwe. Long live SADC, long live Africa, a luta continua. I thank you for your kind attention. Asante sana.
Maneno ya kwake mwenyekiti mpya wa Jumuiya ya Maendeleo ya Nchi za Kusini mwa Afrika SADC, Dr. John Magufuli, ambaye amekabidhiwa kijiti hicho. Anamaliza kwa maneno aluta continua, mapambano na yaendelee, na hii ni baada ya kusemea vikwazo vile ambavyo vipo kwa nchi ya Zimbabwe. Anasema huu ni wakati wa mataifa magharibi kuondoa vikwazo ambavyo vinawaumiza si viongozi tu, lakini hata wananchi wa Zimbabwe na hata majirani. Lakini pia amesema pia nchi zote za SADC umefika wasa sasa wa kwanza kusema kwa kauli moja kuiambia dunia kwamba hapana, imetosha kwa vikwazo ambavyo vimewekwa dhidi ya nchi hii ya Zimbabwe. Anasema kwamba tayari walishafungua ukurasa mpya, hivyo yafaa kabisa maisha mapya pia kuanza. Amezungumza mengi sana, lakini pia akitupa nafasi ama kibarua kizito kwa sekretariat ya SADC kuhakikisha kwamba inaangalia ni kwa nini uchumi ama GDP ya eneo hili inaenda kwa kusuasua mno, tofauti na ambavyo watu wengi wanaamini, huku akiorodhesha namna ambavyo GDP yenyewe imekuwa katika miaka ya hivi karibuni. Kando na hilo pia Rais Dr. Magufuli amepongeza baadhi ya watendaji, akiwemo mwenyekiti ambaye amemaliza muda wake Gengo, rais wa Namibia, Rais Edgar Zungu ambaye anaongoza ile kamati ya usalama na siasa Troika, kwa kibarua ambacho anacho. Lakini pia amezungumza mafanikio ya SADC yenyewe tangu kuanzishwa kwa harakati za ukombozi na hatimaye kuja kutulia, lakini pia akagusia mambo matatu makubwa ambayo ni kikwazo kwa upande huu wa SADC. Amezungumza migogoro iliyopo katika ukanda huu, akagusia swala la ulinzi na amani ambalo anasema kwamba kando na hilo basi hakutokuwa na chochote. Swala la uchumi kuliacha, akazungumzia namna ambavyo tumekuwa tukiagiza vitu zaidi kutoka nje, licha kwamba vitu vyenyewe vinaweza vikapatikana katika nchi za ukanda huu wa SADC, lakini akagusia swala la viwanda. Turejee ndani kusikiliza nini ambacho kinaendelea kutoka kwa mshereheshaji.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, as the heads of state will be leaving for a photo opportunity, that is a family photo, will be requested to remain in the house for special arrangements when it comes to lunch. Heads of states and spouses +1, that is foreign ministers, will be taken to a specific room, and Asha's colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will be directing them. Full ministers that are not ministers for foreign affairs will be going to second floor. Other delegates and from different countries will be directed by your protocol officials to be taken to the marquees. But deputy ministers and other government leaders from Tanzania will be going to Kilimanjaro, which is on the 3rd floor of this auditorium for lunch. The rest of the delegates, please remain seated as the head table is proceeding to exit the building. We'll also have the performance. If you can put the monitors, if you can put the song that were played earlier on. Thank you.
Director. Nurudini anaenda huko kupiga na pisi huko.
I wish ningemwona Magufuli, nipige magoti, nimpongeze hadharani. Yani Rais wa Muungano wa Jamhuri, mchapakazi hachoki, anayepinga nani? Ametuvusha vikwazo, wewe nami, ona nchi anavyoijenga. Flyover tunazo, daraja Kigamboni, airport imeshajengwa. Acha nikupongeze kwa Air Tanzania, zidi baba tuongeze, Air basi Bombardia, standard gauge tuteleze, kusafiri unasinzia. Acheni tu niwaeleze, Magufuli kapania. Odadi Magufuli, cheza nipone, sopenda wabanecho, magumu acheni, asacheza nipone, jembe toka Chato, Magufuli ndo rais wa wanyonge, aga mpole mtu wa dini hajachoka, tunashukuru amesame mara 70, papikocha sayupo huru, wa Tanzania tupewe nini, vilokufa yeka vifufua, karudisha nidhamu serikalini, ukileta janja na tumbua. Sekta madini, umeme, maji, kero zimepungua, elimu bure vijijini, watoto shule wanabukua, ifikapo 2020 kura yangu wechukua, asa tufiche ya nini, Magu uongozi anaujua, Dar es Salaam mwendo kasi, vituo vya afya kila kata, machinga tunachapa kazi, tena huru bila shaka, buriki utari ameongeza, uchumi uweze panda, serikali Dodoma inapendeza, Tanzania ya viwanda, Odadi Magufuli cheza nipone, sopenda wabanecho, Magumu acheni, Odadi asa cheza nipone, jembe toka Chato, Magufuli ndo rais wa wanyonge, asa wote wa Tanzania tusimame imara, eni wote Tanzania, Tanzania tusonge mbele, Joni Pombe Magufuli simama imara, yani sote tusonge mbele, Tanzania tusonge mbele, oh mama Samia Suluhu basi simama imara, pamoja tusonge mbele, Tanzania tusonge mbele, Baba Kasimu Majaliwa simama imara, pamoja tusonge mbele, Tanzania tusonge mbele.
kwa kuichagua Tanzania kuwa mwenyeji wa maadhimisho haya ya Sadc. Kwa kweli hii ni heshima kubwa kwa Tanzania. Asanteni sana.
Umoja wetu ndio nguzo yetu, ndio siri ya nguvu na uimara wetu. Umoja wetu ndio nguzo yetu, ndio siri
viongozi madiva, tunamshukuru Makauda, Mwalimu Nyerere na Mugabe walishirikiana tukavuka. Historia ile inanipa nguvu na inanikumbusha sisi pamoja. Historia ile inanipa nguvu na inanikumbusha muhimu wa sisi kuwa pamoja. Mama Magufuli kwa kuandaa mkutano huu, juhudi zako katika kazi ni mfano kwa upana huu. Ni lazima rasilimali zetu Afrika zitunufaishe wenyewe wa Afrika. Umoja wetu ndo imara, unathibitisha sisi
Tanzania, rushwa tumeiaga. Si mwingine ni Rais Magufuli.
I wish ningemwona Magufuli, nipige magoti, nimpongeze hadharani. Yani Rais wa Muungano wa Jamhuri, mchapakazi hachoki, anayepinga nani? Ametuvusha vikwazo, wewe nami, ona nchi anavyoijenga. Flyover tunazo, daraja Kigamboni, airport imeshajengwa. Acha nikupongeze kwa Air Tanzania, zidi baba tuongeze, Air basi Bombardia, standard gauge tuteleze, kusafiri unasinzia. Acheni tu niwaeleze, Magufuli kapania. Odadi Magufuli, cheza nipone, sopenda wabanecho, magumu acheni. Odadi asa cheza nipone, jembe toka Chato, Magufuli ndo rais wa wanyonge. Aga mpole mtu wa dini hajachoka, tunashukuru. Amesame mara 70, papikocha sayupo huru. Wa Tanzania tupewe nini? Vilokufa yeka vifufua. Karudisha nidhamu serikalini, ukileta janja na tumbua. Sekta madini, umeme, maji, kero zimepungua. Elimu bure vijijini, watoto shule wanabukua. Ifikapo 2020 kura yangu wechukua. Asa tufiche ya nini? Magu uongozi anaujua. Dar es Salaam mwendo kasi, vituo vya afya kila kata. Machinga tunachapa kazi, tena huru bila shaka. Buriki utari ameongeza, uchumi uweze panda. Serikali Dodoma inapendeza, Tanzania ya viwanda. Odadi Magufuli cheza nipone, wasopenda wabane